Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the vault. Trust Christian, know not to control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate it. Definitely appreciate it. So this is the vault episode 396, Millennial Entrepreneur Explosion. This is definitely a long-awaited episode. We've had quite a few millennials come throughout the years. Some of the older spectrum millennials, and even some of the younger spectrum millennials. Is a demographic we definitely want to target because they're entering their formidable years in the workforce. Quite a few millennials reach out and they express different levels of interest. You see people over 45 in 2022 expressing that they do want to obviously take care of family members, whether it's parents, whether it's children. Millennials haven't had that many children, but they do have children, so you get a varying group of the millennials that are engaging in wanting to be in trusteeship. But this particular episode is going to talk about entrepreneurship because the millennial entrepreneur explosion is real. It's happened since they almost entered into the workforce with the likes of a Uber or Lyft. This is definitely not financial advice or legal advice, so we definitely have to always say that in our episodes. This recording is not financial advice or legal advice. We're just having a conversation to entrepreneurs and the like, specifically in the millennial group, but many people listen in various different age groups and things of that nature. We're describing a group of people that were born with and without technology as it is in this prevalent day, current capacity where people pretty much go online for resources instead of even going to local resources provided by the state. You see a lot more searches individual as opposed to people going and dealing with and engaging with these institutions that have them in more physical locations. Internet obviously is very much so spread out, can get a hodgepodge of various different pieces of information. Today we're going to talk about that millennial entrepreneur explosion that's happened since they've entered into the workforce, where they knew entering into the workforce by looking at their parents that these pension jobs weren't going to be around. We already see that they're not around. We just look at the marketplace. You see the millennials, they do want the benefits, but they don't beg for the benefits. They're not asking for the benefits in many cases at times. Some people say, oh, well, the millennials are because the ones that have the degrees and, the ones that are called overqualified at times, they're still out here asking for benefits and looking to get a secure job, whether it's with the government, whether it's in the private sector, get some salary, hopefully live their degree out and hopefully pay back their student loans and things of that nature if they have them, things of that nature. So some of the millennials were heavy laden with student loans, 20,000, 50,000 plus. Once you get past 20 to 50, it sounds like a hole that most people are afraid and that they're not going to get out of. So what did they do? Maybe not the super youthful of a Uber or the super youthful of a Lyft or the super youthful of a these companies that do the DoorDash and the Grubhub and these different companies that do the gig society, the Fivers allowing people to outsource their skills. These people ability to, work from home. Quite a few millennials are artists, and so they are expressing their creative abilities through the internet. They're touching more people. They're not just doing local, moving around. They're at home, and so they're making money from at home. So you got this whole gimmick and scam out here nowadays that, hey, if you're creative, you can just go on the internet and make money. If that's that easy, how come it's not that easy? It's not. But everybody wants to go viral. That's the new term. The term is called go viral. This is where supposedly you're going to get paid from the internet for living your life or doing things that you do, and you're going to get paid from it. Well, who's paying you? First of all, are you on a website that's made for marketing and advertising? A Google, a Facebook. a Twitter. All of these companies are marketing companies. They get paid for marketing. So now you see they have this new term in the marketplace, probably what the millennials came up with. It really doesn't hold its weight. It's another form of calling somebody a celebrity. Instead of calling them celebrities, they call them influencers. So now you got these people that are calling themselves influencers and they're making money. Maybe don't have a legitimate business, but maybe they didn't write a book, but they're an influencer. These are people that are supposedly getting paid from the internet, uh, marketing dollars because they have eyeballs, people want to see them, and in turn, they're going to make money by the advertising dollars that are generated from the eyeballs that they're having on their channel. So, as you all can hear, the millennial entrepreneur explosion has come from people thinking, okay, well, I guess, we got these young modern celebrities. They call themselves influencers and they're influencing people to buy things. Sure, we're not going to deny the marketing capability of someone that's more relatable and personable than a big Fortune 500 brand. This was one of the things that Gary Vee, shout out to Gary Vee, through the internet for years, literally when he did his wine library and then went over into a marketing company for Fortune 500s to get their brands more personable, get their brands more personable when it comes to having conversations through the internet with people, whether that's through brand influencers like athletes that they have on their roster or through themselves actually doing it. So, shout out to Gary Vee, obviously, for making that, a very important factor when Fortune 500s didn't engage in the beginning with in social media or social marketing, traditional, at least the alternative ways, they were just spamming. So they stopped spamming. They started digging more, paying more to who? The athletes, the celebrities, the now new guys that don't even have necessarily a skill other than talking and is really called sales skills or marketing skills. Sure, they have acting skills. Sure, they're influencers. So you get all these people coming up with all these programs for the influencers. So there you go. You got the influencers making the money, the millennials. Then you got the millennials that came up, once again, the older millennials, they're already over 38, 39, and 40. They're out here creating these marketing programs because they got a master's in marketing or they have a business degree in marketing. And so now they want to monetize their business degrees. So they're selling marketing strategy programs. Everybody's program is pretty much the same thing, but everybody says that they're different. So whether they're older than millennials or not, there's just a millennial entrepreneur explosion where these individuals in particular are like, okay, we cannot work for a company. They're going to create a program, they're going to create some type of system that is going to be put in place for them to make money because they've heard of this term for years now from a Robert Kiyosaki. Shout out to Robert Kiyosaki, which is passive income. Whether it's income that you don't have to work for and it's coming through real estate, or whether it's through, they got the millennials jumping out here now on these websites like a Webull or what's the other one, an Acorn, or and there's always new ones just popping up all the time. These are these app-based websites for trading the stock market. So you got the millennials thinking, oh, we're gonna get rich trading the stock market, like this was easy, like the baby boomers missed something or something. Of course they didn't miss anything. That's why they outsourced their income to or their retirement to pension funds. They didn't have the financial literacy. They didn't have the financial education. They didn't have the financial competence. They were focused on working. They were focused on acquiring skills, implementing skills, and systems and strategies. And one of them was not too focused on or keenly focused on entrepreneurship. You see most of the baby boomers focused on trying to have a job for 25 to 30 years, get a pension and get a pension and you can retire somewhere, where it's warm and sunny. So, as you all can hear, the millennials have seen the drop ball of how the generation previous to them is not just baby boomers but Generation X. Well, they've got overlooked. The stats are over them. No one's really thinking about Generation X. Generation X was a short-lived generation. They actually had quite a few children in their generation, but they were the overlooked generation. They're still overlooked. Why? Because these are the people you look at right now, millennials. You look at your parents, millennials, and you already know you're going to have to take care of your parents. Well, guess what they call Generation X? They call them the sandwich generation. Some of the sandwich generation, they made sacrifices for their children so their children could go to college. So they started these retirement savings programs. These are the people that voted these legislative people to put these things in place so they can have a what? College fund for people. They voted for that. So uh, they voted for these people to have, these college funds, but guess what? They're taking care of their parents right now. Generation X is taking care of their parents because how can you live on half or one third of what you were making? You got to downsize because you had a job. You didn't diversify. You didn't have the existential means to retire in comfort because people don't, because they have jobs traditionally. That's what the millennials have seen it, whether it's through the internet, whether it's through TV. They can see that. Guess what? What did our grandparents look like? What do our parents look like? How long did they work? Do I want the life that they have? All the millennials are seeing multi-million dollar lifestyles. That's all they're seeing over the internet. Oh, everybody's making $1 million, man. I gotta make $1 million. If I make $1 million, then I've made it. That's always been the code. Back in the day, it was, you grab 1 million, you're moving in a great place. Some people say, oh, if I make $100,000 annually, well, sure, whatever it is, the goal, is it the goal that your parents are? Your grandparents are? The millennials are looking at that and saying no. They're saying, okay, well, we got to diversify. How do we diversify? Well, since we don't know how to be entrepreneurs because we weren't trained to be entrepreneurs, think about it. Even if you go to business school, you're not trained to be an entrepreneur. You're trained to be a business admin at a company. There is no guarantee that you're going to be successful in business if you get a business degree. So it's not a guarantee. It is a administrative degree, something people utilize to be a manager of a company. Whether it's a CEO, whether it's a CMO, whether they go to school for marketing and they become a chief marketing officer because they worked their way up through the ranks. So they started a company and they're a chief marketing officer. Say they're the chief financial officer. They have a accounting degree. They may have an accounting degree as a chief financial officer. See, the millennials still looked at these people and they said, we see some of these people still don't retire in financial dignity. Why? Because they're still working in their 50s. They're still working in their 60s. The internet has shown people, hey, this is my lottery ticket. The internet has shown people a lottery ticket. I make some money through the internet, everything's going to be swell. Make money through the internet. What they say? You can make the passive money. That's what the millennials are looking for. They're looking for the passive money. Looking for the money so they can make it while they sleep, right? They want to make money while they sleep. So how you going to make money while you sleep and you barely working in the daytime for it? So the millennials are in a conundrum right now because they want to YOLO it. They want to you only live once. They don't want to lose their years they think that's in their prime. They don't want to lose their late 20s. They don't want to lose their 30s to not partying. Remember, they partied in their 20s. Some of them studied in their 20s. Then about 25, they were like, okay, probably got fired from a job, could have got laid off from a financial institution. We know millennials that got laid off from financial institutions that were around in 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, and they're not around anymore, so they don't have a job with them anymore. That's how it looks for the millennials. See, the millennials experienced the financial crisis, what you want to call the financial crisis, whatever that is. But see, the millennials had to keep churning it out. What did they do? Did they bellyache? There was no stimulus money given in to the millennials. So the millennials had to keep working. And we're going to continue